for this vehicle to be legal height, I have to be 30 inches to the bottom of the frame here. But I really think if we went higher, it might look better. So let's try 31. Actually, go a little more. Yeah, 34. That actually looks really nice. Why not, you know? What's a little extra height? Okay. What's that? What's going on?
You got a tape measure?
Yeah, sure.
It's 30 inches to the bottom of the bumper. 30 inches, that's it. No more.
All right. We're just seeing what it looked like.
So maybe come back here.
In all seriousness, I'm not going to keep it up super high. I'm going to keep it at the legal limit of 30 inches. Just makes it safer when you're cruising around on the street. If you do get in a collision, you're not going to just jump over another car. You'll actually hit bumper to bumper, and it just makes it overall a lot safer. The next thing we're going to be doing is tackling the rear suspension. So in order to do that, I have to take the front links off so we can get all that weight off the nose. And then we're going to take the rear axle out. We're going to clean up the new Super Duty rear axle, get all the factory brackets off of that so we can make our own for the 4Link. I do want to thank Ben, Eric, and Jonah for coming out, grinding on this thing quite literally. Definitely helps out overall getting this thing done faster when these guys are coming out and helping me out. I appreciate it. I had high hopes of keeping the factory fuel tank, or at least having a fuel tank in that location, but because we're moving the rear axle backward for tire clearance, and after we were taking this fuel tank out, we pulled the skid plate off and found a couple little rust holes that were actually leaking fuel. So it looks like it's one more thing we're going to fabricate. No big deal. just a little bit more custom. Once we got that rear axle out of there, we had to cut all those brackets off. Brackets for the fuel tank, the brackets for the shocks, bump stops, just kind of clean up the frame on that. When we were cutting the brackets off of the rear axle, underneath the leaf spring mounts, there was a little bit of rust and corrosion, so it had worn into the axle tube. So I actually had to build that back up with weld and then grind it smooth, so I'd have a nice surface for doing all our future mounts. So that's what I'm doing here, just kind of cleaning them up, welding in a little bit, smoothing everything out so we have something to work off of. Doing all the grinding on these brackets on the frame reminded me why I didn't do that on the front of the frame. Just cut it off and made a new frame. I thought about that a little bit when I was grinding all this stuff off the rear, but I think we're going to be able to use this frame in the back, so we'll keep it for now. But man, too much grinding. this is where we've ended up. We have the rear axle in place. Cleaned up those areas that that the mounts were. They need to be ground out. Cut off a lot of these factory brackets for the fuel tank and for the shock mounts, bump stops. Got the frame rails all cleaned up. Now we are ready in the next episode to start designing this rear suspension, similar to the way that we did the front, but this we don't have to worry about the steering, and there's a lot more clearance back here. So should be a pretty cool setup. In the rear I'm trying to gain a little more travel, and it's going to be a little different suspension design, so we'll dive into that next time. Don't forget to subscribe to follow along.